This week we learned a lot about crisis recognition. As our book said, an actual crisis puts an organization's crisis preparation to the test. And a situation becomes a crisis when key stakeholders agree it's a crisis. Some companies ignore that there's a crisis present, which isn't good. So they have to really sell to the marketing, to this crisis management team, that there is a crisis. They have to sell it to the stakeholders so that everyone can agree that there's a crisis before action can be taken. As the example given by Carnival Cruise Line, there was no own up to the crisis. There was no frame to the problem and how it was presented, and the avoidance of the issue lacked honesty and integrity, which really gave a bad reputation to the cruise line company. No one wants to put their trust in a company only to have it taken away. We want to put our hope in a company who's going to be honest with us, and when Carnival Cruise Line wasn't, people responded in a negative way. There was no selling of the crisis because Carnival failed to own up, which is true. As mentioned in the YouTube video, there are 5 key steps that are important to a crisis, or to PR. First is content. Second is target. Third, they need to be timely, relevant, and credible. Fourth, there has to be follow-up. And 5, they have to track measures to what's happening outside, whether that be social media, talking to the stakeholders, investors, whatever. When a company seeks outside opinion, they're more likely to be able to put on a good face. So what is the social media network saying? A lot of opinion is held on social media networks, as it is really high up there right now in how people are interacting. A lot of people post their opinions on social media sites like Facebook, Twitter. They're venting about a problem they just had in the store, and that can spread fast. So a company needs to be prepared for that kind of response. How can they handle that response? What is being said that they can change? Are there concerns? What can they do to fix those concerns? Follow up with people. Are they doing the right thing? Are we helping you by fixing this problem? Just being in the action is key for any PR team, any crisis management team, to prevent future crises. PR must join, engage, and listen to be effective, which is true. Like I said, they need to be listening to what their consumers are saying, what stakeholders are saying, what can they change about their company, what can be different. They need to be engaging and making it seem as if they're there and they're caring about their company, not just running away like Carnival Cruise Lines. And social media is huge for that, like I said. So Carnival Crisis, they pulled the mum effect by avoiding any negative feedback. They blocked it out, they avoided it, they ran away. But PR needs to be front and center with honesty to provide investors with hope. Like I said before, anyone putting trust in a company wants to make sure that that company is going to be honest and open. One of the key things is making sure that if you make a mistake, that you're honest about it, because that's going to really bring people back when they see that you're willing to admit your mistakes, your faults, and do what you can to fix it. That's really going to pull people in. And that's something that Carnival Crisis did not do, but other investors, other companies could do in the future. So being open and upfront, part of that means resistance to crisis, knowledge of the unknown, and the action to overcome a problem. What don't you know that's going on, and how can you get to know that? It's all about research and finding out information about a crisis before it can become a crisis, and before you can go to take further action about it. And as Deb Weinstein said in her video on her definition of PR, she said, PR, with its two-way focus on dialogue, builds open, honest, and transparent bridges of communication between a brand, business, or organization. That could be from employees, employers, stakeholders, and shareholders, etc. As when they're honest and open, they're building that bridge to better communication, which is so important in a company. having communication with those inside and outside really affects the reputation of a company, which is so important. And she said PR builds sales, it provides content, it builds relationships. Having the right PR team can really set the foundation for a company. They have to play to win and differentiate from everyone else. They have to be that shining star in the distance that everyone wants to go to, that company that really puts themselves out there and is different from everybody else. And they have to realize that there is a risk and reward weighing option. Is the reward going to be greater than the risk? And a lot of PR have to realize they need to take the risk to seek a good reward. And like I said earlier, Carnival Cruise Line did not do that. Their fault at not admitting what happened or owning up to it and leaving social network open to comments was not a good step, and I hope that other organizations and companies will learn from the Carnival Cruise Line mistake and be open to a crisis that occurs and be willing to admit their faults. Because as Deb Weinstein said, recognizing a crisis can either cause a company to sink or swim.